Welcome to the Drunkard's Path. I'm Shelley, and today we're going to talk about a few things, my progress with sewing and cross stitch, and the upcoming show in Petrolia next month. But first, what we want to talk about is the new addition to our family is our granddaughter, baby Thea, was born last Wednesday and weighed in at 7 pounds 4 ounces, and my daughter is. It was I don't know. It was tense at times, but she did a great job. She's well now. She's getting her strength back. So yeah, we're seeing changes in the baby already. She's only 6 days old, but hopefully she'll make an appearance here soon on one of our videos. Okay, today now, because I haven't had a whole lot of time the last couple weeks to do much with all this excitement going on, I did find some time to make a little wall hanging out of this book, Lori Holt's Spelling Bee. Now I had dug this out of my bookshelf and I gave it a go, and wow, I have to say, this is such a great book. You can do blocks in either 6-inch or 12-inch, and you can do names, you can do quilts for holidays, Christmas, Halloween, you name it. Or maybe you want to put the name of somebody on the back of your quilt. So this is an excellent book that shows you or has all the alphabets, uppercase, lowercase, and some fun blocks too. So I'm putting in an order for a few of these books, so check back soon on our website, and you should be able to pick one of these up here at the shop. So what I did was, now I finally knew the baby's name, so I made Thea a little wall hanging, and I had some Lori Holt fabric, and I just cut up the different colors, and it's kind of like a peachy pink background, and I just put her name together just to test out, and it came out pretty good. And of course the back is just my pieced whatever I had left out of my fabric. I just like to use up as much as I can. So very simple, very nice, and again from the Lori Holt Spelling Bee book. And we should have that in soon. Next up is the cross stitch that I've been working on. Now I've shown these two pieces that I'm going to show here before, so I'll take it out of the bag so we don't get any glare. This is the Quaker Christmas. Okay, this one is just a ton of stitching, but you know, there's no hurry, and I'll get it done when it gets done. So I've made some progress. I used this nice white linen, I think it's a 32 count, or an 28, I forget. But I did do like the Merry Christmas, and I did some more of the green bit. It's mostly green, the whole thing, except for some words and letters, and there's an angel in the middle that's going to be a gold color. But it's a fairly big piece, so it's going to take a while. But it's really nice to stitch with one color. You're not doing the color changes, and you know, it does go along fairly well, fairly quick. So there's that one. This one, the Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. Again, I'll take it out so we don't get the glare. Okay, now I've done 1, 2, and I'm working on this number 3, the Headless Horseman. So I'll show you my progress. This is a big piece as well. So I've finished the lettering at the bottom over there, and I got all the bats and the top lettering and the tree on the side. So, and you know, once you get working on something, you'd be surprised at how quickly you can get things done. But yeah, this one's gonna take, oh gosh, I don't know, a while. But when it gets done, I am really gonna be proud of this piece. And that piece there, I've been using a hoop like this. It's called Nurge, and it's just a different kind of a hoop that once your linen cloth goes in, it really locks it in. Like it will not shift in there. So I really like this kind of hoop. For the bigger pieces and the smaller ones, I just use a regular tension spring-loaded wire that goes into a plastic hoop, and it's fairly economical. And I purchased this pattern in the springtime, and it came out, I think, what do they call that, Stitch Market or something, that comes out in February in Tennessee. Anyway, this one was a big seller, so I picked that one up for myself, and it's called Halloween Makers. And this was actually stitching up pretty quick. This one, I've got that much done within the last, well, from our last video. This is how much I've got done. I'm just working on the witch down there, and there's some words that are going to go on the bottom, so I think this will be really cute when it's all done. Not quite sure how I'm going to fully finish it, but I really like the way it's looking so far. Next month in September, for September 15th and 16th, we will have a booth at the IODE Quilt Show, and it's going to be at the, I'm sorry, gotta look at it for a second, Christ Church Anglican in Petrolia, and it's going to run for 2 days, so hopefully we'll see you all there, and look for us at our booth. So I finally got started on the Sewcialites 2 Quilt Along, and we're going to link the pattern down below, which is from Fat Quarter Shop, and the whole PDF pattern is there. I think there are 24 blocks by a whole bunch of different designers. So so far I've got on this particular video, we're going to have block 1 showing the tutorial. We get into a little bit better into block 2, but block 1 was our test, so hopefully you'll be patient with us until we get a real rhythm going with these tutorials. But you can see some technique, and of course you can do it any which way that you like, but we're just here to show you how I do it, and you can add or not do it that way at all. But I hope you join us on this sew along, and again, the link is below on the pattern, so check back on our videos for the newest blocks. Block number 1, the fabric is cut. We're going to work on a 6-inch block. The 3-inch and the 9-inch are blocked off, so I didn't make a mistake while I was cutting my fabric. This block number 1 is an experience level, so might as well just start with the hard stuff right off the bat. Let's get going. Okay, so here's the first step. We're going to take a piece E and a piece B. We're going to sew corner to corner on the B, trim a 1/4 inch off, and flip that over. So I'm going to place my square, and I'm going to pin it so nothing shifts when I'm sewing. And I'm going to go corner to corner. So I'm going to trim a 1/4 inch away and iron it back. Be right back. We're going to take a piece F and a piece C, and we're going to sew and flip, and we're going to take another piece C and we're going to sew and flip. So I'll do one at a time. It asks you to make 2 and 2 from piece F and add the C. So what I do, I put my pieces on, and I put a little pin, and I'm going to go from corner to corner. So I have my stitch length set at 1.6, so it's a nice tight stitch length. Needle down, and I go. I'll show you the first one, and then I'll chain piece the other ones off camera. I'm going to trim off a 1/4 inch from the seam line, and I'm going to iron that back. Flip that back. I've sewn that flat, and I'm going to add the other side and go corner to corner. So place our piece, try to get it as square as possible, pin it, and we'll go corner to corner. So and so. cut it off from 1/4 inch away, and I'll flip that and iron it. So now you can see the 2 corners are done. They're both ironed open, and it's nice and flat. So I'm going to do that for the other 3 pieces, and I'll be back. All 4 units are done, and I pressed open on each one of them. And remember, when you press, you don't move the iron back and forth. You just press it down, leave it there for a few seconds, and lift it straight back up again. And I usually use the tailor's clapper, so they lay nice and flat like that, so you keep your corners nice and squared. So next, what we're going to do is take a piece A, and we're going to sew A to one of these units. So we're going to do that 4 times, but I'll show you the first one. So we're going to match up and maybe put a pin down here so nothing shifts. So a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so each unit will look like this, and I'm going to go iron the back. So my seam is ironed open. Now you might prefer to iron to one side, that's your preference. So I'm going to do the other 3, and I'll be back. Next, we're going to sew piece H to piece D, and we're going to make 4 of those units. So I'll show you the first one. I've pinned at the start and the end of piece D and H, and we're going to sew 1/4 inch. So there we go. Snip your thread, and I'm going to go over to the iron, and I'm going to iron that open. So I'm going to do that 4 times. I'll be back. So next we're going to take a piece G, and we're going to put it on right sides together to the unit you just made. We're going to sew corner to corner and trim off a 1/4 inch away, and we're going to flip it over. So just keep in mind which way that top bar is going and which way you're sewing diagonally. Okay, so see if I can do this correctly. So we're just going to pin it on each corner so it doesn't shift. So pin corner to corner. And we're going to sew from one side to the other. Down and thread and double check that that is correct. So we've got it like that. So I'm going to trim that section off, and I'm going to sew the flip it over, and I'm going to do the other 3, and I'll be back. Okay, so now we're going to take those 4 units and we're going to make kind of a pinwheel. So pay careful attention on how you do your placement. So I've got dark, dark, light, light into a pinwheel. So you have like a double pinwheel. So I think this is why they call this the advanced block, because it's a little tricky. So I'm going to sew them together. So I'm going to grab 2, line it up. You can pin if you want. And so we're going to go 1/4 inch. Okay, we're going to grab the other 2, fold one on top of the other so we don't lose our placement. And we're going to start slowly. Okay, we're gonna snip and we're gonna iron these, and then we're gonna sew the top to the bottom. Okay, be right back. Okay, this time I ironed to the side. One way, one the other way. So when I sew these together, they're gonna nest up to each other. So they should have a nice, they should meet up in the center like that when I sew. So I'm gonna pin. And you can feel where the seams meet, and there is a lot of bulk there. So probably best to pin. And so 1/4 inch. And just kind of take your time going over all of that bulk. Pin that to the edge. Okay, this is probably the hardest piece on the block. So if you open it, you can see looks pretty good. So I'm going to iron that and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so I ironed it open, a lot of bulk right there, so try to make it nice and flat. It says to trim it up to this particular 6.5 block, so just trim it to 3.5, and everything is meeting. The points aren't cut off or anything, so everything's so far looking good. So now I'm gonna lay out what the block is gonna look like. Okay, so now I've laid it out like it shows me in the pattern. I've laid it all out. And make sure your light corners are all faced out, and make sure that these units match up with this fabric and that one with that one. I almost laid it out the wrong way, so I had to double check, and oh, okay, so just take your time, look at it, match everything up, and now we're going to sew the top all the way down, four rows together, and then we'll sew the whole block together. So I will show you when it's done. So I've sewed the 3 rows together, that one and the bottom piece, and what I did was I pressed to the inside for the top. In the middle I pressed out, so when I put them together they should nest, so you have a nice seam. So I will now sew these 3 pieces together. Okay, so here's our finished block, cut to 6.5 inches. This was pretty difficult. You had a lot of seams to line up. Just remember to keep that 1/4 inch seam as much as possible. Try to lay open or press open so you have a block that's flat, so it's easier to line things up. So this is the completed block 1, and now to do block 2. There's still time to get in our quilt kit giveaway, which it goes right to the end of August, so I think the draw will be on September 1st. So any order that you make, your name's going to go into this draw. So good luck, everybody. As always, keep sewing, keep stitching. Until next time.